almost finished the inks of Blood Veda. I just wanted to give a rundown of the villain Caligulus, and one of the first of the 12 to 15 commanders that the main heroes fight throughout the story. One of the things that's going to be very important is that there are three distinct races of vampire. Again, salute Tatika and Zaj in the previous Zaji in the previous panel I did involving Geechee Gullah folklore. So I actually had three races of vampire. There's actually three races, right? So you have the more draconian lineage that are more dragon-like. The new names of the Nakanami, because salutes to the panel, I was going to change the Plat Eyes, or a remix of that name to show homage to the ancestors. And then for the Wolf-like, I'm going to keep the name that I had of Luciferian. And for the third race, they're called converts. And converts are just basically vampires that were turned a really long time ago. So you'll have foot soldiers that be turned maybe 50 years ago. But for a actual convert, typically they've been alive for 300 or 400 years. So Caligula has been alive for about 1,000 years. So as a convert, he's pretty strong. Commanders are typically purebloods. The only way that you could be a convert and be as strong as a commander is if you were already extremely powerful as a human before you were turned. So in his case, he was already immensely powerful as a person. So when he was turned, he became the newest or 15th commander of the Army of the Abyss. Typically through blood flow, most vampires can channel what I am calling a haggis. And it's basically two forms of the same type of energy manipulation in Blood Veda. Now, for vampires, that basically means that they can pump their blood in a way that generates haggis, or this malevolent energy that allows them to use special abilities, uses them to, sharpen their... It's kind of like how you could channel Nen to different parts to boost your perception, or you can put it to parts to harden certain parts of your fists in combat. Sensory awareness, but because vampires, can infinitely pump their blood that way because they already have the superhuman physiology, they, can use their powers kind of indefinitely. And so his power is basically making these very thin strings that he could then manipulate and use as offensive weapons, use to grab things of that nature. The thing this nigga does is after he butchers people, he turns them into meat puppets. And he turned his nigga into a meat puppet. And again, he did that strictly because the man gave him an answer he didn't like. And so Caligulus is a different level of monster. So Caligulus Panos is a different beast entirely. That was his original design when I first coming up with him. But yeah. Whereas when you look at the humans, especially the Dhampir, that are the main characters of the story, they went through a surgery that they have vampire hearts inserted in them. So whereas they can use haggis energy because they're still human physiologies, when they're pumping their blood to use that energy, it basically, if they use it too much, it'll blow their heart up. It's it makes their heart pump at superhuman levels, but their bodies aren't necessarily built to constantly deal with that amount of blood circulation at that speed. So if they use their powers too much, then at a point it will slowly start to, make them bleed out their eyes, and eventually it'll blow their heart up, their heart will explode. So while all of them have the unique abilities of using haggis energy, they all have their own special traits. So for his is lightning, and he can make a channel lightning through objects. So in his case, it'll be his chain blade or Kuga-sama. For Clarissa, I based all Clarissa's shields, so she is a boxer. So she uses her trait is clairvoyance. I don't know how to say that, but she can see 5 seconds into the future, and she can basically predetermine the best move to do 5 seconds in the future. So she can simulate superhuman speed. For Corinne, her trait would be wind, so she can use it to make herself kind of float off the ground. She can make wind slashes and etc. So she can basically has a wind attribute to hers. And for Kimiko, she basically makes portals, so she can use two objects. One object is the entrance portal, the other object is the exit portal. And she basically can use those with any weapon that she fights with. She particularly fights with like throwing stars, but she may use a bow and arrow for like making long distance trips. So all four of them are basically on a time limit when can use their powers. So I'm laying out the last 4 pages now of issue 1, and pretty much you kind of see an example of her using her abilities to get him onto the train, where a lot of the action is going to take part in. And getting him on a train, she used this object to shoot it within range. And you see her go from the ship, and you know what I'm saying? She makes a portal for him to jump through. Issue 1 of Blood Vada will be available on my Patreon if you want to check that out to read. And then as soon as I'm finished dropping the pages, I do have a commission to do for the homie. I got to do the new issue of Yonder. I don't know if y'all remember that fight scene I did with my shorty Uma, introduce a character. So I'm going to work on that, and I got to finish Lay's Island. So I'm going to be working on Captain Z after I finish this as well, but it may take me a second to show updates of that. But yeah, Blood Vada 2026. We ain't fucking playing. I'm super excited for y'all to read it. I think you guys are really going to like the entranceway. I can't wait to get to issue 2, because it's like you see a lot more combat, and I wasn't trying to rush to get to a fight scene, but like I really want y'all to see how all their powers work, especially Clarissa, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, because the fact that she's a boxer and she's like you know how Yuji was kind of the nigga who just kind of like those hands and feet. Her and the Taz be trading hands. Like they're like the martial arts niggas of the team. So like their fight scenes are the funnest that I have with. I can't wait for y'all to read it. Blood Vada 2026.